I know what you're thinking. This place can't be real. Well, in fact it is. These are the Sleeping Bear Dunes located in the Grand Traverse region of Michigan. And for those of you who don't know, that's my hometown. Like me and Peter Morlatos, the guy whose drone footage I'm using, embrace the vast beauty of these gifts from Mother Nature. Sand dunes have for a long time been an attraction to outdoor lovers. They lure in challenge seekers who thrive off the powerful feeling you get when you make it to the top of the highest dune, and to the ecology nerds who come to explore the vast vegetation and wildlife that roam the hillsides of these sand mountains, and to kids who sprint around until their wits end, leaving nothing but footprints behind. However, over time those footprints become a problem, and we have begun to alter the natural growth and ecosystems of the sand dunes. Not only has this become a problem for sand dunes in our very own state, but has become a global issue as well. It's important to learn the ways in which humans are altering the wildlife of dunes, and ways we can change our behavior and preserve nature's gift. One of the beauties of sand dunes is that they are full of high levels of biodiversity, most of which are essential for their growth and maintenance. Unfortunately, humans are affecting this biodiversity through induced impact of trampling. We may think we are doing good when we get out and go hiking and camping. However, it is this type of recreational activity that is altering the development of dunes. Vegetation plays a key role in preventing erosion. Many of the plants that grow in the dunes are adapted to withstand the natural disasters that would occur in the region. With that in mind, these plants provide adequate protection, including capturing sediment, ecological succession, and formation of islands, dunes, and surrounding beaches. Especially coastal dunes that rely on the plants to increase dune height when sediment is high and act as a barrier to wind flow. These plants have adapted such a strong role in capturing sediment that their general form and physiology are linked to sediment movement. With this, they are better able to encapsulate sediment and in turn stimulate more plant growth. Humans have, in many other areas of the world, started implementing large-scale infrastructure on sand dunes. These anthropogenic crafts, such as power lines, highways, and resorts, are calling for more tourists and human activities. This, in turn, is permanently preventing vegetation growth and leveling out the once beautiful peaks of the dunes. The integration of infrastructure is creating fragmentation. Fragmentation are the large empty spaces between plants. This weakens the dunes, causing mass erosion and eventually leveling out the dune and affecting the homes of many living creatures. This footage here is of Nespar Beach in Bulgaria, once known for its simplistic views as you sit atop the dunes. However, now you can see there are no longer any dunes. These resorts were first established in the 50s and have since then increased their infrastructure and tourist attraction. Nespar Beach is just one example of the thousands of regions all over the world that are tampering down on dunes and destroying wildlife. By altering dune vegetation and urbanizing sand dune regions, it is a given that humans are also affecting the habitat of many living creatures. One particular study I came across involved looking at ant community composition and its relationship with vegetation structure on sand dunes, located in the Gulf of Mexico. Ant diversity was correlated with plant richness, stem number, and plant cover, but correlation was not consistent among habitats. Ant diversity was lower in degraded, young planted, and rebuilt sites, but they thrived in thick, lush, and healthy widespread plant cover habitats. This study goes to show how important it is to protect the dune system, even for the smallest living creatures like ants. Another study analyzing wildlife took place on the Gold Coast in Australia, and they used ghost crabs to analyze ecological change resulting from human disturbance. Ghost crabs were looked at in varying habitats throughout the Gold Coast, ranging from highly urbanized areas with many resorts and water activities to remote, undisturbed dune regions. Over the course of 6 months, results indicated that ghost crabs were more abundant in low-use sites and less abundant in high-use sites, meaning that instead of roaming the once quiet stretch of sand dunes along the coast, ghost crabs have been pushed out of their habitat and are residing in what quiet, remote dune areas remain on the Gold Coast. They were also recorded to be more populated in areas of richer vegetation in more remote dune regions compared to areas with influxes of human activity that no longer hold the native plant species. All in all, ghost crab abundance is positively correlated with width of dune vegetation, species richness of dune plants, percentage of native ground cover, and of ground weed cover. Based on this study, it is safe to say that anthropogenic disturbance and habitat modifications strongly affect the abundance of ghost crabs and many other dune-thriving creatures. One study analyzing the sand dunes in Montenegro aimed to compare new growth and shifting of dune plant species Ammophila with and without fencing. Fencing was used to prohibit human trampling. It was found that fenced-in areas help enhance plant growth and richness, compared to areas that were not fenced in and prone to human trampling, showed evidence of limited plant richness in sparse growth areas. Managing human accessibility on sand dunes by establishing fenced-off areas gives the ability of damaged dune areas to restore themselves and provide management companies to assist in the restoration by planting new vegetation in these areas. Plants are an essential part to maintain dunes because they prevent erosion and minimize sediment movement by stabilizing the topography of the dunes. If isolation efforts did not occur, all natural vegetation and wildlife would disappear, and human activity would eventually cause the dunes to erode into flat lands. Having designated areas fenced off also provides a symbolic value for visitors in raising public awareness of this issue. With regards to the National Sleeping Bear Dunes in my hometown region, conservation efforts are seen throughout the 35-mile stretch along the Lake Michigan shore. There are endless designated hiking paths throughout the sand dunes, and these trails help balance the preservation of dune vegetation and wildlife with human recreational activity. While tourist attraction of the dunes has immensely increased in the last couple of years, it is still critical that we continue to respect the natural flora and fauna of these masterpieces. Many of these trails exhibit wood and wired fences lining the edges of the trail to make people aware of what parts are accessible for them to hike on and which are not. There are also numerous areas where wood bars are implemented into the hiking sandhills to prevent erosion when hikers climb the steeper trails. Unless specified in a designated area, humans cannot camp, lodge of any sort, and build on the dunes. The National Sleeping Bear Dunes have been maintained and protected for many years. However, with a rapid influx of tourists, it is in need of maintenance and recovery before it is too late. Because these dunes cover such a large area, the costs of repairing the steep bluffs and hiking trails is exceedingly expensive. It is hopeful by the Sleeping Bear Dune Park Service that in the near future, Congress will ensure that infrastructure initiatives include provisions to address park maintenance, provide dedicated annual federal funding to national park repairs, and create more opportunities for public-private collaboration and donations to help restore park infrastructure.
I'm still